And now we're started. I just hit record,
okay.
And I walk over, and I give you a hug. I can't even shake you. All right, so we talked basically this whole walk.
Okay.
The cool thing is, I forgot my Mamiya RB67, and you let me use your R6, and I'm super geeked about it. So this is gonna be my first roll shooting ever using an R6, M6. My bad.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. It's good to see you.
It's great to see you. So what people don't know is you're my original photography mentor. You're the person that taught me how to do photography, and I've talked about this story a couple of different times. I've told people I started doing photography because I wanted to do cinematography, and I was like a struggling college student, but I was like 19. I was going to the Rise Center, and I had a friend named Cheeto, and he was your mentee at the time as well. And Cheeto was so good at doing videos because he was doing everything with HBK. And I wanted to work with them too because I was like, Richmond, videos look great. It felt good to feel a part of something. With that, I had just bought my first Rebel camera, the T5i, and all I wanted to do was video. I didn't even like photography. I avidly didn't like photography. I thought it was dumb. However, Cheeto says, hey, come do the photo walk, because I used to like sitting in the little editing room and just sitting there all day. And he was like, nah, come do photography. I was like, I don't really want to do it. You gonna do it? He was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I was like, well, why do I do photography? He said, because it'll make you a better cinematographer. I said, okay. And I used to see you around the Rise Center, but I didn't really know like what you did. You just seemed to do with the little Kango hat. Yep. And kept it moving and kept it kind of low. So I didn't think much of it. And then I went to your class, and I felt like, I don't know what happened in that first class. I think I was still shooting in like standard because I had just got my camera, like an automatic. You were like, no, you gotta shoot everything in manual. And I was like, okay. And then I just started letting you like show me different stuff. And then I remember after that class, it was Tuesdays and Thursdays. After the first class, I was so eager to come back to the second class. I was like, ooh, now I got photos and I can post them. And then I was going every week. I was so excited. You showed me Visco, because I remember everybody's photos look cooler than mine, like visually, color-wise. I was like, what's going on? He was like, yeah, you use Visco. I'll give you some free pack, da-da-da-da. I was like, oh, this is great. And then the day that changed everything for me was the day you showed me how to shoot with a prime lens. I didn't even know what a prime lens was. All I knew is I was trying to shoot videos. And he was like, you gotta use the prime 50. I say, okay, I'll use a prime 50, and I use it. And I was taking pictures with it, and it was finally giving me the bokeh effect where everything was blurred in the background, everything was in focus on the subject. And then I took one picture, and somebody took a picture of me, then I got to take a picture of them. And I still have that picture, it's on Facebook. I might post it in this video.
Was that the assignment that day?
Yeah, it's portraits was the assignment.
Tear up and take a portrait.
Yeah, and everything changed from that point on. And I remember being so excited to shoot. I remember going to New York for the first time with my big brother, and I was so excited to show you the photos that I took and everything, and how you just kind of guided me there. And then as I got older, we'd do a photo walk maybe once a year, maybe once a year or so, maybe once every other year, and I would just come back and show you what I had done. And you probably stopped bringing your camera as much, but your wisdom was still so valid. You're the reason why I take pictures. I mean, obviously I'm the person that's shooting it, but I think you're the reason why when I had a misstep with cinematography, I could lean into photography so much more because of your mentorship.
Wow.
So first, thank you.
Yeah.
And hi, Joey, how you feeling?
I'm good. Wow, thank you for that. Yeah, first, just thank you for that. And there's no greater compliment than what you just said. And yeah, you know me. It's always an honor. And that time we had at Rise was a really special period. I think that was the peak of me being really in love with photography, and all I wanted to do was share that. And you were like the perfect student for that class, the embodiment of what that class was all about.
Man.
I eventually went to school, but I started off, a really self-taught artist. I think you're in a lot of ways a self-taught artist, and yeah, you got it right away. And I think we have something in common. I don't know if you know, but I was always kind of a photographer that wished he was a filmmaker. And so I thought, I think in a way that you think, which is like a lot of my shots, I always wanted them to be as if they contained a whole movie just in that one frame with all that feeling and stuff, because it's all about feeling. And I think that was even an assignment that I did sometimes. I'd be like, imagine you're shooting a poster for your film. So come up with the story, come up with the idea, and then I want you to set up a shot that has all that feeling of like the plot and the film and the characters, and you could have models and whatever. That was like one of my favorite assignments that I used to have us do.
I'm over here smiling because like that, I remember that excitement. You know, I think as I've gotten older, excitement has kind of dwindled a little bit. And I was telling you before we started, like, there was a period of time where I fell out of love with photography. Completely. And I remember I was falling out of love because of how my approach changed. The skill was always there, right? So I look at photography and as art, I feel like art is a relationship. And so me and my relationship with photography is like a relationship with a woman. And she poured into me and I poured into her, and I was so excited to learn all these new things about her as I'm learning and I'm paying attention and I'm watching and I'm looking at other people's relationships and I'm seeing how their work is so grand. And so then I'm taking what they do and applying it to what I do to make my stuff better. But then at a certain point, like I said, I was shooting boudoir at one point, and I love boudoir. I think it's the flyest, coolest stuff in the world. But it changed over the pandemic, and I stopped wanting to shoot it. And I remember shooting and things just not feeling like anything. And so then the preparation I used to do before my photo shoot, going on Pinterest, looking at stuff, stopped. And then I started relying on the skill. So now I'm not feeding into the relationship with me and my craft. It's just, I know I'm good because I have a skill set that I've practiced for so long, but now I no longer practice, and so now I'm just relying on my skill, so now I don't really have a love with it. And then it's like, I think like the photography relationship changed because it's like the craft knew too. It's like oh yeah, it's like, oh, you're not invested anymore? I'm not either. Do what you do. You don't care, I don't care. And I remember getting home from work. It was like a 2-year, 3-year stretch where I was still trying to rely on skill or not relying on passion and love. And then one day I came back home from work and I remember just throwing my camera and I just threw it. I was like, I don't care, and just threw it on the ground. Not hard enough to break it, but hard enough to be where I was frustrated. And then I said, I'm not doing photography anymore. I'm done. And I didn't take a picture for a year. Like, I didn't take a picture for a year. I was like, I hate this.
Can I ask you a question about this? So the you that is now obviously creating again, do you like that person more?
Yeah.
Like, do you like what you're doing more now?
I almost got emotional. I think, yeah.
Folks don't know that by profession now I'm a therapist.
Yeah.
At this point in life, so it just comes naturally.
Yeah, no, that was a great throw. But
well, I have a point that I want to follow up with after this. So that's why I'm.
Yeah, I definitely like the person I am now because the person I was before when I quit, or I thought I quit because I didn't really quit. Yeah. I took a break.
Yeah.
That person was so clouded and cloaked in like self-deprivation and anger and envy, and all the times I said I wasn't going to move to LA, I didn't. So there was a period of time where it was like I was mad at myself too because I should have probably moved 5 years before and I didn't move. So all the opportunities I thought I could have had, I didn't have. Then I had other stuff going on in my life where relationships were bad and family stuff is trash. My job is whatever at the time. And so the thing that I loved the most that was protecting me, I wasn't valuing it, and it felt like that door had closed. So I was just so angry at the time. And the person I am today with my craft, I post every single day now. And and it is like, I gotta post when I leave here. I'm gonna just post in the evening even though nobody sees it. I love this person. Because this person is a lot more fearless. The other person wasn't. You know what I mean? Like This person is fearless. This person drops just because he wants to drive. He cares more, is more thoughtful. I shoot differently. I pay attention to stuff that I didn't pay attention to. Where when you remember, all I wanted to do was portraits. I like shooting street photography now because it's like, or even just street photography. I just shoot anything now. But the reason why I do that is because when I finally do shoot somebody, I have all the other things that make my portraits that much better now, because I see everything. I see the light coming through that right there, and when I place the subject there, I know what I'm seeing. And yeah, so that's a long answer to your question.
It's a great answer. Can I say a few things about that? And I think we should talk about it for the viewers, especially anybody younger than us, because I don't think it's a thing, especially with social media. We have so much choice about what we share, and people get a certain impression of us and what our life is like. It's rarely the case, is it?
It's never candid. It's always performed.
Yeah. So I feel like, and I'm going to really embrace my age at this point. You know, I'm now.
You got grades in there now.
The salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper, yeah.
There's more salt than pepper, but yeah, I'm 46 now. You know, so I was still pretty young when I met you, but I'm full. You know, I'm going to embrace the elder man for a moment. I feel like both the scariest and the most important thing I've done multiple times now, as an artist and as a person, which are not really different things, are they? The artist is just a person living a life. Has been, and again, really the most scary part has been letting my old identities die when they want to die. You feel me? Like, there's been times where, like,
holding on to some shit that was ready to let go for a really long time.
I think our identities and who we think we are becomes like clothes that are too small.
Yeah.
And then we're like trying to
still
get those
putting them on.
jeans on or whatever, and it's just not fitting anymore. And it can be really scary, because I think the first thing that happens is you feel this emptiness, because you're like, I don't even know who I am then. If I don't do this, then who am I? If I let this go, who am I? Like, does that make me not special? Not
do I have not a value?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what is my value? And then I think if you can hang in there with that process and go through the dying, and this may sound crazy to a lot of people, which is fine, but like, if you can let those identities go and let them, and go through the fear of letting them die, and kind of be nothing for a minute, then usually on the other side of that, there's something that you are less in your own way.
Yeah.
And you're closer to what is natural to you, and you're closer to who your true self is, and you're closer to making art that is less of a struggle, because you're just listening to yourself, you know, like you're making stuff more for you, and you're not shoving yourself into this contorted position to be something that you think you should be. And a lot of times you are that, you know, like 10 years ago, maybe you were that thing, but sometimes you're not. And I think now I'm seeing like, oh, that is what life is you do that, and then you have a certain way that you are for a while, and then you kind of die, and then you're reborn
again. It's the Phoenix effect.
Right.
It's interesting. You talk about that metaphorically. Like, I actually had an experience with that. I guess TMI. I had a moment where life was really dark and dim, and I contemplated not being here, and it became like a real thing for me to not want to be here anymore at all. Because like you said, the part about my identity, I stopped seeing value completely. I had put so much value into me being the artist, being this, rather than just being myself, that I didn't want to be here. And I was very, very clear. And there was whatever. And with that, it was this thing where then it was like, okay, then if you do it, then what? And I think the thing that kept me here was, well, there's always a little bit of tomorrow left. Like, it wasn't that, it was dark, it was really dark, but I still seen some light. And so I said, well, what if I just choose the light? And what if I just start all the way over? And that was the thing I had to do. I had to start all the way over. I had to literally say, okay, this is where I'm at. This is who I am. And I had to like rebuild myself from scratch. And this is it used to be more of like a moment by moment thing, and then it was a day by day thing. Now it's like every couple of weeks you just kind of recheck in with myself. I go to therapy every Friday. Shouts out to Cara. But I think I was so geared. Before the pandemic, there was this thing in me that was so driven, and so I was lifting weights, I was doing all these things, and it was like I was in a simulation, so I felt like I was kind of getting to where I wanted to go. And then this pandemic happened and everything shut down and it stopped. So I could produce this art and all this stuff, but it didn't seem like it was advancing me anywhere. And one time I was having a conversation with my therapist, and I was telling her, I was like, I think I'm supposed to be further along. Like I said, I have a vision of where my life is supposed to be, and I said I've had the same vision since I was 13. What my wife would look like, what my house would look like, what kind of marble I'd have on my kitchen counters, the type of TV I'd have, the office I'd have, and all these different things. And my therapist says, "Okay, how old were you in that?" I was like, "What you mean?" She's like, "Can you see yourself in that? Like right now?" She said, "You're talking about it, you can see it. I can hear you seeing it. Can you see yourself though?" And I was like, kinda. I guess I'm older. I can't really see everything. I see my body. I don't see my face. She said, "Could it be possible that maybe that could still all be true, but you're just not at the time frame that you want to be in right now?"
Yeah.
I was like, she said, "Maybe you're working to that right now. So maybe you thought you went where you were supposed to be there at 24, but you're really supposed to be there at 34, maybe 38." And I was like, huh. And that kind of regrounded me and gave me my time back. I think I was working on a time, on like somebody else's clock. And I used to say, man, 2 Chainz got popping at 38. Because he did get popping at 38, like re-popping at 38. But I didn't really apply it to my real life. I didn't think, I was like, I'm supposed to get it popping now. You know what I mean? And it's like, nah, I think right now, in the spirit that I'm in, creatively, I'm in the best space I've probably ever been in. Creatively, just even like I'm at a point now where it's like I'm hard work more than talent, and like I don't have every skill set. I don't see everything the same. I don't know how to edit better than anybody in particular. I'm just doing me at its full potential. I'm taking it on one, and the skills will come. But like I'm kind of, like you said, it's a rebirth. So it's like I'm kind of reborn in this, where again, I used to rely on raw talent but not have work ethic. Now I have work ethic, and the talent is starting to, like, okay, we good, but we could get better, but keep on working and it'll add up. And yeah, that's my spill on that.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you hung in there.
Yeah.
You know?